are you, Winston? That way. That's no location above a carpenter's shop.
Miss Fry has uncovered the location of the sinister cult of spies plaguing our streets. You know your orders, lads. Follow her lead, and let us rid London of this menace.
Finish the bastard off! Well done!
Need help survive on the streets? Look no
Okay.
further. Get your
Carpenter's shop, eh? I never knew Mount Fuji was a volcano. Got him. Miss Winston, your loyalty is snow. There we go.
Where do they get their orders from?
The tide is turning in our favor.
Don't lose those papers, or it will be your head.
I don't know why they keep secrets from us.
Our people in Westminster have sent word. We should stay alert. These documents could well win us the war.
We've laid the groundwork. Now it's up to them.
Have you noticed? He has a crazy glint in his eyes, like he's seen the face of God.
They're terrified of a few bombs, but soon we'll have hundreds of Zeppelins over London.
These documents could well win us the war.
He never suspected a thing. Not until the blade was in his heart.
They'll find the body sooner or later. The explosion went just as planned.
The tide is turning in our... The tide is turning in our favor. The tide is turning in our favor. These documents could well win us the war.
All the other... Where do they get their orders from?
Don't lose those papers, or it will be your head.
President Trudeau!
Actually hitting her!
This woman is making... Please, you try!
My beloved calls to me! You won't keep me from my beloved!
All right, better make yourself
uh,
skunks.
Terminus for you, my friend.
Oh my god!
He was a sage.
Excellent work. The ringleader is dead, as are his bizarre disciples.
Is that it then?
Well, there is still a war on.
Then we both have our own affairs to return to.
Know that you have done a great service to your country. Thank you.
The man Lydia Fry killed was my husband, Aita, reborn. Known in your time as a sage. Thank you for discovering his fate. His pattern will be added to my own. Perhaps you believe, as other assassins before you, that it is your duty to work against me. But consider this. It was an assassin who freed me from my prison. I am no longer she who lies in wait. I am the mother of wisdom. I am the nexus of flesh and machine. I am Juno. And if the greatest assassin of your generation can see things my way, then perhaps you can too.
Complete the World War I simulation. Reach maximum loyalty with any associate.
Keep trying. We have to get this information. It's vitally important. I know.
Juno. Born. I have no earthly idea. What little we know about Juno is often taken from second-hand accounts. We first became aware of her when our friend Desmond relived the genetic memories of people who had come into contact with her in the past. What we know is that Juno is a member of the first civilization, who lived on this planet before we did. This race of people created human beings as a slave race, but they rebelled and fought a long war. Woo! Go us! Back then, though, Juno was part of something called the Capitoline Triad alongside fellow precursors Jupiter and Minerva. They were scientists of sorts, working together to try and stop a massive solar flare from destroying the planet. Only it seems like Juno was also looking to use the chaos to seize power and take over, and so she was imprisoned inside a grand temple on the East Coast. However, it seems that while in prison, she somehow transformed from a physical being to a digital one, and she was able to reach out to various humans throughout time in an effort to free herself. And get this, we freed her. Us. The assassins. Now she's loose, a literal ghost in the machine, in the gray as she calls it. Her description of living as a digital entity. Nobody knows what she wants, or even what she's capable of. All I know is she's dangerous. She killed a friend of mine, and she's our responsibility. The Instruments of the First Will is a cult of Juno worshippers. They believe that we should go back to the way things were when the first civilization was around, which is that we humans should subjugate ourselves to the precursor race. I imagine it would be a bit like living in Arkansas. As we've just seen some Juno-themed cultists in World War I, it's likely that there have been Juno worshippers since the fall of the first civilization. However, I don't know that they were the same as the group that currently operates today. It's not often you'll hear me use the phrase, I don't know, by the way, so do make sure you enjoy that. Anyway, there is sometimes, but not always, a sage involved. Honestly, with Juno's digital consciousness out there, there could be groups of them anywhere. There was a group of them found in Abstergo Entertainment Montreal, and I suspect there were some mucking about in Paris last year, around the same time we were. I've seen intelligence that suggests that the instruments in Abstergo have an uneasy working relationship, helping each other locate precursor artifacts. I don't fancy the idea of either group getting their hands on too many. At least Abstergo is the devil we know. Sage is a term used to identify the reincarnation of Aita, a member of the first civilization, inside of human being. Aita was the husband of Juno. There's a joke about the binding shackles of marriage here, but I'll leave the jokes to you. Databases are serious business. From what I understand, Juno managed to manipulate human DNA so that his consciousness could re-emerge periodically, almost at random. What this means is, a person will be born with their own personality, but they will eventually come to possess the memories of Aita. Most sages possess a distinctive identifying trait, heterochromia. Often the sages bear a strong physical resemblance to Aita, and to each other. And to date, only male sages have been identified, but we believe there is a small chance that female sages could also manifest. My cousin Mark has 2 different colored eyes. We should take some of his blood the next time we're in Vancouver. You know, just to be safe. Sages are valuable to Abstergo because, according to them, a normal human genome contains roughly 0.0005% of first civilization DNA, but a sage can have up to from 5 to 6% in their genomes. That doesn't sound like much, but the more samples Abstergo obtains, the closer they get to sequencing a first civilization genome and unlocking their powerful artifacts. Back before we could more easily identify them, there were sages that managed to sneak their way into the history books, like the dreaded pirate Bartholomew Roberts, and even a couple of Templar Grand Masters, Jacques de Molay and Francois Thomas Germain. More recently, an Abstergo Entertainment employee named John Standish tried to use their technology, and a helpless fleshy volunteer, hey, that was us, to bring back his beloved wife. Do you think there's even been an assassin sage? It looks like you found another sage operating in World War I, this German spy master. But honestly, by the looks of it, he wasn't one of the better ones. Still, when things quiet down, we ought to send someone to see if there are any of his remains left in the city. First World War spies. Despite little evidence of their activities, the British public became obsessed with the idea of German spies lurking around every corner during the war. Fueled by popular fiction and tabloid newspapers, this paranoia overestimated both the number and the quality of enemy spies on British soil, laying blame on those damn Krauts for any and all misfortune. Nevertheless, espionage was a real threat in every country involved in the war, with military codes and advance notice of troop movements at risk of falling into enemy hands. In Britain, it was up to Scotland Yard and MI5 to separate the imagined spies from the real ones, the most famous of which was Karl Hans Lodi. With very little training or guile, Lodi was discovered sending telegrams to Germany using simple codes and at times even plain text. A real genius move, that. He was arrested in Ireland in October 1914 and executed in the Tower of London the following month. He was the first person to be executed there in 167 years, so it's not like he never achieved anything. 10 other spies would follow his fate in the remaining years of the war, with others imprisoned or executed elsewhere.
Eagle's Nest. Hello? Is there anyone there?
Well, I'd say this was fun, but I think it's time to head back to Victorian London. This is a nice little side trip. See ya, Churchill. Good luck with the war. You're gonna need it for the next one.
I'm not reading any more signs of network disturbance. What happened in there?
We jumped forward to the Great War. Also, we got to see Jacob's granddaughter.
okay? I don't know what happened. I thought I'd lost you.
8 points. Right, we need to go to our train hideout first. Because they keep telling us we got money. Hey Jacob, you got to see your granddaughter. My what?
A letter? For me?
We're not doing that. There we go. Keys to the city. All gang upgrades. There we go. New belt for Jacob. Hey, Robert.
I did like you said and went to the theatre last night. The Follies? No. The Delphi.
Given out of respect by the organizer of London's underground fight
Never heard of
clubs.
himself. What play was it? Can't recall. Well, it was very interesting. Blokes and togas were very angry with each other. Correlated. I beg your pardon.
Jacob, hello.
Hi. Just looking at my souvenirs. Token of thanks for help.
I hear you
Bunsen
collected
burner.
Bob from another bender. Drunk as Polony, I'd wager.
Token of our invention to liberate items that would have served Sterix for nefarious purposes.
Not worth a brass farthing, it ain't. Came into a few ducats, I see.
Very first unstifled prototype of the voltaic grenade. Train coupling locking pins. Each one represents growth and success of the gang.
I thought I'd stop by for a visit, my lord.
After the Gatling gun debacle, Nigel presented us this present.
Too late to stop by for some fisticuffs.
You're looking particularly lethal, Jacob.
Used by Edward Kenway as he liberated the Caribbean from Templar control. Dr. Elliot's personal medical case. No longer will these tools be used for evil.
I had trouble catching a bus today. Did you have anything to do with that?
No. An ornate carriage clock from one of Pearl Attaway's carriages.
You're quite a brother.
Well, let's say we do one mission to wrap this up.